Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Kick a Ball Pod. I'm smiling from ear to ear because I've got one of the guys that has always been a supporter of Kick a Ball Pod. I've loved talking with Coach Deemer over the last, what's it been, 2.5 years, really? Um,
Yep.
it's a quick introduction, but everyone, Matthew Deemer, assistant coach of Portland men's soccer. He's had a lot of stops along the way, a lot of great moments, at least throughout his own career, both coaching and playing. We'll get into a lot of this. I like being vague about the guests. I like the guests to tell a lot of their own story. But Coach Deemer, thank you so much for wanting to come on and come on for this interview, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I think you've done a tremendous job. I think a lot of people are amazed with what you're doing from afar, and just getting to know you over the last little bit. It's been awesome to see the hard work that you've put in, and yeah, it's been really cool. So we're thankful that you are interested in the University of Portland, and like what we're doing over here because we like what you're doing over there.
I really appreciate that. So it always. I mean, I feel like I hear it a lot now, but I still try to just make sure that I really take into account that we're really talking about player stories here and coaches' stories and what really makes up college soccer. And, this is the kind of thing that I really love being able to do and everything else. And to talk about Portland, I mean, I'm really liking a lot of the stuff that goes on. So, we're away from the fall season, at least for a while. The spring season, a little far removed. We're back into the summer. It's a little slow, but there's still a lot of work that you guys are going on behind the scenes. What does Portland, Oregon look like right now?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if slow is ever the word in college athletics,
Right.
especially with the things changing every day, it seems like.
Mhm.
But yeah, just making sure we're prepping for next year.
Yeah.
Still finalizing our roster for this year. And then obviously the 2026 class is full go.
Mhm.
And then you're less than 20 days away from the 27 class being able to talk. And so like it's all crazy in the recruiting world still. But then at the same time, making sure your team is ready to go come August. And so whether that's gear or travel or anything to do, we're hosting a team here for the FIFA World Cup. So like making sure their space is ready to go, and then making sure our camps are ready to go. So and then obviously traveling for all these playoffs and big showcases and tournaments and stuff. So. I wouldn't say that it's slow for sure, but it's an exciting time where you can kind of get you get really excited for what your team could be.
So there's a couple things that come to mind right away. I mean, I don't think we can go through this interview even 5 minutes without talking about the site that is Merlo Field, the home site that you guys call home, somewhere that I'm excited to see one day, and really being able to take in its fullest capacity in a home opener, in a home match, whenever it is. You've got the Portland fans, but you've also got its national reach in terms of the World Cup, like you were talking about. I mean, I know. Portland also, I think you guys were traveling to a lot of these games. I think Merlo hosted one of them, but it was the Whitecaps two, it was the Sounders second team and the Timbers second team, at least this
Yep.
past spring.
Yep.
That's something that not only speaks to the quality of the squad, but really just the organization as a whole, how you guys have really established yourself in the Pacific Northeast. With those two thoughts, I'll brush a little bit on Merlo Field. I mean, what can you tell me about just the atmosphere that this really provides for the Pilots every home match? I know there was a stretch of maybe it stretched before you arrived. It was 28 home matches without a loss. It's something that's unheard of, and I gotta imagine the site at Merlo really plays into that. What can you tell me about it?
For sure, for sure. I think it goes down right now, at least as the second longest ever. Number one was Caleb Porter's Akron team, which was just remarkable how good they were. But yeah, we think this place is a fortress for sure. Being a soccer school and having, half of your school at your games is exciting. It's a really cool, it's just cool vibe. You feel it right away. It was one of the reasons I accepted this job when Nick, graciously offered it. It's just a really cool place. When I was coaching against Nick and I came up here and we got our butt kicked, like it was like, whoa, like kind of shocked me. I was like, ah, this is incredible. So, yeah, it is a special place and you're in a city that really values soccer, which is really cool. You go to Timbers games, and it's like, whoa, this is the closest thing to European soccer that I see in the MLS.
Really?
Just their chants and their environment and their fan base and their caring and standing only sections, like they have it all. And so to have that and then have Timbers Army and then connect that with University of Portland and it all coming together in this city is really, really cool.
Huge. Yeah, it's something that I mean, like I said, we talk about observing each other's kinds of whether it's Portland or whatever the work in social media that I do, but I mean, seeing this stuff from afar is something that I'm just infatuated with. I mean, it's it's something that I even talked about Nick and Sebastian at least during I wasn't la yeah, last summer I guess at this point before those guys made it off to pro. Nick making his MLS debut and Sebastian Alva doing his thing with the twos in LAFC too. I mean, um, this goes into another part of what I want to talk about as a general theme. I mean, Portland is a factory for MLS level talent, and it's got to be a huge part in terms of the work that you do under Coach Nick's staff, the rest of you guys really working together to create this talent, or well, to develop this talent in college. And I guess just as a few quick words, I mean, tell me about what it's been like seeing some of these guys really be able to succeed at the next level.
Yeah, I think it's just awesome, right? It's super cool for them to follow what they want to do in their dreams. I think it's been pretty cool that the five guys that have been drafted in the last 2 years, like they all had eligibility to
Yeah,
come back. And so like I think we take a very holistic approach of like what's best for the kid.
right.
And for some it's to come back, for some it's to go and play, for some it's to sign, whatever that looks like. And so yeah, I think it's really awesome for them. And those are the type of kids that we're recruiting. That's the environment that we're creating here. And I think the big piece of that is being here now for 3 years is development.
Right.
Like we put a massive emphasis in the development category, like getting better every day, improving every semester you're here, and kind of taking a look back after you're about to leave and be like, whoa, look how far I've come. And that's really cool. That's like a really cool piece where I think that piece gets missed a lot in college soccer is the development piece. It's more transactional or it's more about just this and that, where we're really big on like developing and getting better at certain areas of your game that will get you to that level. Because you're not going to get there unless you improve. And so
Exactly.
like the fact that we can and get you to improve and do it while winning is really cool.
I mean, and we talk about the MLS guys, but I mean, Cash is doing his thing over at Portland, Hearts of Pine, and I mean, so many other players have come through this organization. Just something that's very admirable. Again, on the outside looking in, huge, huge. Um, and then I guess my last quick little thought before we really start, I really start to, leave it to you to tell your own bit of the journey. But what does the coaching structure look like at Portland? I mean, we've talked about Coach Nick, the head coach. I know you do a lot of recruiting work. I know you work with goalkeepers, but I know there's a lot of other people onto the staff. I mean, give us an insight about the background of Portland men's soccer.
Yeah. First off, congrats to Christian Segovia while I'm just on this because he was our grad assistant and he just graduated and he came from LAFC and he did an amazing job. So just want to say congrats to him. But he did so much when he was here. And whether that just was travel or food or responsibilities off the field or gear, whatever it may be, like he did an amazing job. And I knew the guys had a real connection with him. So to see him graduate was really, really cool. And then, yeah, Nick, and Ben are the three like full-time guys on staff. Ben does an incredible job with a lot of like the in-house stuff, the scheduling, working with our guys, our backline stuff, a lot of the GPS data and the analytics and our running data and all that stuff to make sure that we're tuned in and the fittest and sharpest we can be. My primary thing is recruiting and making sure that we're viewing and recruiting the best players in the country. And then, Nick's one of the best, probably five head coaches in the whole country and has won everywhere he's gone. And so, to work under him and work with him has been a great learning experience and showing us like a really good way to run a program.
Yeah, huge. And it's important, at least with the programs that I've talked to and the ones that have been successful, is to be able to have guys that are able to specialize in so many, or able to specialize and to denote skills to be trusted with certain aspects within so many parts of this program, whether it's recruiting and scheduling and player development, that I know all of you guys have that touch into, at least with development. But yeah, it's just so huge to be able to delegate that kind of stuff. There's, um, you know, maybe a title is an assistant coach or assistant or associate or this, that, but I mean, there are certain things that are really paradigm to your success and also the success of this program as a whole.
For sure. I think like everyone's got to be able to do everything, you know?
Sure, yeah.
And some days you got to lean on one guy more than the other, and some days they're long and some days they're shorter. But like, at the end of the day, like, or we do as a staff that we're one of the hardest working staffs in the country and we don't have other jobs. Like, we're fully bought into just doing this. And, um, it's really cool. It's cool to see like when a player commits or when this guy passes this fitness test for the first time ever, or we win a game because of one play that we worked on in training, or
Yeah.
whatever it may be. When all those things happen, it's pretty cool to like be in the office that day and just be like, hey, we did that. We worked really hard to get that done. So yeah, it would be impossible without each and every one of the guys that have helped us. In our office or outside of our office, there's so many people at the school that help and care about soccer, which is awesome.
That's a huge thing too. I mean, I was going to talk a little bit about the recruiting class, but I think there's no denying that Portland is a soccer school. Like there's no real other, and I don't want to discredit the other programs, but what I know Portland has outside of, me knowing, having been around college soccer for forever, is this soccer program. How does that change the dynamic in terms of fan interaction, people that are invested, like you were talking about, in this program? But also, I gotta imagine the athletes real or these players realize that these guys that they're the big men on campus, and sometimes that can have its positives and negatives. But how does this being a soccer school impact your job and impact really the program as a whole?
Yeah. I think the word right away is that you're important, like really important on campus. Like, people generally know how you do, win, loss, tie. Like, it's everyone knows the next morning right away. Everyone knows, and then it comes with a little bit of responsibility.
Mm,
Like, when you see Portland soccer on your backpack or your pants or whatever it may be, like, that holds weight here. And I think that's pretty cool and pretty important. And it lets our guys or forces our guys to kind of grow up and mature and have some leadership skills and crush it in the classroom. Like,
right.
we don't want to be that team that's not showing up or sitting in the back or, and I think all of those standards and that accountability really comes to the forefront when you're at a soccer school that really values this sport.
Yeah,
Uh, and our guys crushed it this year, or this semester. 3.62 team GPA was just amazing.
that's
And
pretty sick.
so
Yeah.
uh, I think they've taken that like step of like not just being incredible soccer players, but understanding that you walk around the city, anywhere I go in the city, someone will be, oh, Coach Deemer, like, good luck this fall. Like, Nick, anywhere I
Huge.
go, Nick, like, someone knows Nick about the University of Portland soccer. We walk around with our guys, like, and it's like pretty cool to see them in that like limelight,
Yeah.
but it also comes with a little bit of responsibility. So, like, it's cool for our guys. It really is.
Yeah, and you're forcing not you, but that environment forces a lot of these 18, 17, 18-year-old kids who come from MLS Next academies, which I mean plays into the attention that the recruiting classes of Portland get every year. I mean, it seems like every time that a new list from TDS comes up, it's you guys are in the top five, or if not, six or seven. But yeah, you get a lot of these guys from the Timbers Academy, from Atlanta, from um, any of these other various MLS Next academies, or even outside of some of them. I know you do a lot of work just making sure that you're covering all your bases, but these kids, 17, 18-year-old kids are treated very much in this limelight. And yeah, I think exactly like you're saying, it plays very much this responsibility aspect of them growing up, them learning how, they represent their school in a way that's different than maybe some ACC school or a Big Ten school.
Yeah, I think one, when it comes to recruiting, I want to give our conference a lot of credit. Like, I don't think our conference gets enough credit
WCC.
for how good they are. I think 2 years ago we had a winning record versus the Pac. Pac-12 or Pac-6, and then last year we had more first round draft picks in the ACC. So like we come from a conference that's really good. It
Yeah.
should be, it should be pretty, it should be good. It is good. It's really good. It's elite. And so that's exciting. And then, yeah, we want people that want to wave the flag and that want to be here.
Yeah.
And you take really, really good players and you put them in an environment that they want to be in and they want to be tested and they want to improve and they have the end goal that we can get them to. It becomes a really good match. And I put a lot of hours. We put a lot of hours.
Yep.
Ben puts a lot of hours. Nick puts a lot of hours into making sure we find the right ones
Mhm.
because it's pretty easy to find a good player that's the wrong one. And so,
Really?
um, putting in the time and effort to make sure we find the kids that can come help and impact in the locker room and on the field.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it could have been put. Yeah, it can't be put much better than that. Just finding the guys that not only are the good players like you talked about, but the guys that fit in the system that are good, that want to represent this kind of team. And yeah, I mean, just fantastic.
Yeah, yeah,
I've got to ask though too. I mean, you still being relatively new, it may not feel like it sometimes, but still relatively new to the Portland coaching room. This being your third season, this third fall that you'll be involved in. Um, but does that play into a little bit of the recruitment at times? I mean, these aren't the guys that you've brought in since their freshman year. You've got a lot of guys that, you're still growing with, at least over the last 3 years, if that makes sense, where you're still adjusting to them. Maybe you didn't bring them in here, but they're still quality players that will be able to eat up minutes, will still be able to be able to result in wins for this team. And does that, at least first starting out with recruiting, do you realize, okay, well, you've got to adjust really to the broader system as a whole and change your recruiting in that end, or you're still just looking out for the best players who are going to be able to be great fits, great people for this organization? Just
yeah,
curious for that.
yeah. A little bit of both, right? Like back when I was at San Diego State, that recruiting model's one way, and then you go to San Diego and that recruiting model's one way, and then you come here and this recruiting model's one way. And so I don't think any one recruiting model is right or wrong or fits or doesn't fit, but you do got to make sure that the players you are bringing in work.
Right.
Like you're putting your name on a player. You believe in a kid. Like
Mm.
if you're gonna do that, you got to make sure it fits the game model, it fits the locker room, it fits our attitude, it fits our personalities, it fits our school, right? Like it fits our city, fits all of it. And so when you do that, whatever, all of those things, all those pillars with each player, and you really break it down, and then is it a fit for our staff and is it a fit for their family?
Mm.
Now we're not talking about as many players as we started with,
Right.
And so, but that takes time, and that takes energy, and that takes, dedication. So, yeah, we feel like we have a really good process here, and the big word is believing, them believing in us as a staff and us believing in them as a player.
Huge. And I appreciate the insight that you've been able to give me, Coach. I mean, I I always like talking about this kind of stuff and just getting that quick little, not quick, but this introductory level is to really just seeing the program as a whole, what you guys are all about. And I mean, now we get to show everyone why I've really bought into this kind of program, at least over, just watching it over the last couple of seasons and wanting to be around and interview you guys.
Yeah, yeah, we're happy that you're bought in. We watch kind of, or I guess we scroll and look at you from afar and are impressed with the things you find out or know or get to see, and that all comes from your hard work. So that's the base of most successful people is hard work.
Course. And I can't do it alone. I mean, Julio Ruiz and Malcolm Phillips, Tinashe, John, we're expanding by the day. We're just trying to bring more people involved and who really buy into these kinds of visions like we're talking about.
Yeah, that's right.
So I want to ask though too. I mean, I would love for you to give us, I mean, your soccer story. I know it's gone as far back as goalkeeping in high school to, well, further back than that, I'm sure. But at least the furthest back I could find has been quality players goalkeeping in high school, Chapman, and then the coaching ventures that you've had before. So however long or short that you want to make the story, I want to let you know I'm here for all of it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I want to know your soccer journey. I want to make sure we let that get out there. So we could provide a little bit more context to, I mean, how you've become really one of the best recruiters in the country.
Yeah, yeah. I was really good in high school. Don't let anyone fool you. I was incredible in high school. But yeah, I think I fell in love with the idea of coaching pretty young, like which is interesting. I would do like privates, and I was always help out like the U10 team whenever I was like around, and then in college, I picked up some JV high school, and then in my senior year of college, I was coaching a varsity team. We
Yeah.
did great, won like CIF Coach of the Year for the state, and that was in Southern California at the time. And when I graduated, I wanted to get right into something. I didn't know what exactly. And Lev Kirshner, who was the head coach at San Diego State at the time, was coaching a women's semi-professional summer team, and he was looking for someone to help him.
Right.
And so I helped him with that, and that led me into getting my foot in the door at San Diego State. And so I was straight out of college in May, and then I was on campus in San Diego State in end of July,
Huge.
and um, did the director of ops role my first year. It was I learned so much being around Matt Hall, who's a goalkeeping legend, and Josh Hill, who's
Right.
known as one of the best recruiters in the country, and just three phenomenal people. Um, and that kind of pivoted my way and moving to San Diego. And so spent two full falls there and had a really successful like turnaround there, which was awesome. And we'll forever be grateful for Brian and Nico and Frankie, and then moved the jump up here. And so um, it was yeah, one of the best moves I've made in my career, and really excited to see where this goes. But we're happy here, and yeah, we see the vision of winning a national championship.
And I think, yeah, I mean, I have no doubt that that's absolutely the goal for you guys and the staff. I mean, you don't bring in the kinds of quality players that you guys do just to be satisfied with anything less. I'll be completely honest with you. I mean, to just to throw my sense of how you guys really run this program, it doesn't surprise me that you guys are shooting for that national championship every year.
Yeah, yeah, exciting time.
So I gotta ask, I mean, what do you think is going to be key to continuing to get there? Is it going to be bring in X number of guys? Is it a coaching thing? What do you think, without giving too much away? And I don't want to be prying about the system that you guys have going on, but I mean, what do you think are going to be a part of the steps to ultimately reaching the pinnacle of college soccer?
Yeah, I think all of it matters. Every part of it matters, right? Like having the roster to win is important. At
Yep.
the end of the day, talent wins. And then having a staff that's bought in, and I know that part is checked off. And making sure you're training at a high level, making sure you have all the things in line to be successful, having the buy-in from the players. I think we've done an incredible job of making a locker room that's bought in for each other. And so that is really important. And so yeah, there's a lot of steps that goes into winning, I think. And most of it occurs probably before the whistle.
Right.
Right. And I think we do an amazing job in that category. And I think we have all the tools here to do all of those things and win all the things that we want to win. So yeah, is it hard? Very hard. So yeah, we're less about talking about it and we're more about doing it here.
Yeah, and I think that that's what's going to make it so gratifying. Nothing, nothing gratifying will ever come easy. And it's just exactly like you're saying, just trying to keep pound, I mean, I really keep pounding away at some of these harder aspects that, you know, all need to click before the whistle. I think that's something that is really valuable to really just make sure that that's one of the main pieces because, um, yeah, I mean, people will watch the games, but they don't necessarily see what's behind the scenes of what coaches and players all do before. I mean, even stepping on, even really having these first practices, captains practices are a huge part of making sure the gelling is all together, and that's really very, very player centric. And I'm wishing you guys the best on that for sure.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. It's an exciting it feels far away and it
Right.
feels like it's tomorrow at the same time, which is always an interesting like few months here where you kind of just want it to be August 4th or 5th or whatever day it is already. But yeah, we have a really good thing going, and we're happy with our roster. We're always trying to get better, and we feel like we have a really good group of just individuals, right? Really good group of people that are also pretty good at soccer.
So I want to ask another thing though too. You mentioned this aspect in the director of operations role with San Diego State. What is that? What did that entail? I mean, your first, well, I guess I shouldn't say first real experiences in a college environment where you're trusted really I mean, really as a director role, right? I mean, fresh out of college, but still having this coaching experience, a lot of that background. How did that help you with this operations role, and what does it really entail for someone who may want to get into that kind of role for a university in the future?
Yeah, for sure. I think you got to be 2 feet in, and I think that's going to be hard on some days where
Right.
it's doing a lot of tedious stuff or things that maybe aren't quote unquote fun. But I really learned so much. You'd go and maybe you're just setting up cones one day. Maybe you're just on water. Maybe you're doing the travel for the team. Maybe you're helping pick out gear, whatever it may be.
Right.
There's so many things, maybe cutting some film up. You're always just learning because it's something you've never done.
Mhm.
And my big takeaway there was like days that I was, I don't know if this is worth it, 1 foot in, I would leave and I wouldn't get too much out of it. And then
Right.
days where I was fully there and I was 2 feet in and I was like, whoa, I learned so much. And
Nice.
any job I ever take, I like Lev is one of the first people I call just as like a thank you. I would never be here if it wasn't for, my 2.5 years there. And so, um, yeah, we're straight into the Pac-12 or Pac-6, whatever you want to call it, was like, whoa, this is a lot. This is crazy. So, yeah, there's a lot of like small things that go into that role. And it's most most of the time just like, hey, head coach doesn't want to do it right now, or assistants can't get to it. Can you fulfill this real quick? Or can you get to this? And um, I think the biggest thing is how appreciative the rest of the staff is.
Mm.
Like, I mean, first thing I talked about was Christian here. Like it
Yeah.
was just a thank you for all the work he did because it meant so much. And so, yeah, you have a director of ops that's 2 feet in with doing all the little tasks. I think the rest of the staff just gets so appreciative towards them.
Huge. I mean, that's another one of those unsung hero roles that you need. I mean, you have to be able to get everything all covered. And if you need someone else to be able to take a little bit of that weight, whether it's a grad assistant or someone in the director of operations role, that's the kind of thing that just needs to be done. You can't look at coaching as certain things that need to be missed or certain things that are allowed to be missed. That's a better way of phrasing that.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, just having those kinds of people that ultimately are around and willing to work on those little tedious tasks, like you're saying, and without getting so far into like the actual nitty-gritty of the stuff, like it's something that is just so vital to the operation of this program.
Yeah. And then when you get at some point in your career down the line and you hire a director of ops one day, like you know what they went through.
Yeah.
You know
So
exactly what they're going through day on day. Like, and some days you're like looking at them going, oh, that's a tough day for them. But like, let me go and fire them up. Let me go help them out.
right.
And I think that all plays a role in all of it.
And so now do you often see these guys that go from the director of operations role into coaching, or is that just another step that helps gain those experiences? Why is that role so important? Because it's something that I mean, at least at my school up at Cornell, you have a lot of guys who try to volunteer with student managers and that kind of stuff, but it's just not the same role fully. That maybe they're
Yeah.
trusted a little less. Where's director of operations really take someone?
Yeah, I think it could take you anywhere.
Yeah.
Like at some point you got to make that decision of, is this what I want to do?
Mm,
And do I want to stay in college athletics? And if it is, then your next step is your next step, whether that's
mm,
evolving volunteer through camps or whatever it may, then you're a second assistant or third assistant or first, whatever that may be, D1, D2, D3, NAI. There's so many levels, there's so many things, there's so many jobs
Right.
that um, if you go and do a director of ops somewhere, you've gained enough experience or you've had insight on so many things that you just don't know,
Mm,
right? Like it's hard for someone to give you a full-time job with such little knowledge about college athletics.
right.
And you might think you have so much because you played it or you were in it, but like then you're on the other side and you're in the office and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And so um, I think it just gives you the experience to say, one, to yourself, do you want to do this?
Mm.
You want to put the time and energy into this way? And then two, if you do, now you have the experience to go apply for a job.
For all the college athletes that are watching this kind of thing, or people that want to work in college sports, I think that's just a vital thing really to take into consideration. I mean, get the experience that you think you have already, but realize that there's still so much that there really is to learn. And I appreciate that, Coach Steamer.
Yeah. Yep. And do it 2 feet in.
Yeah. So I mean, can you ever, I mean, I feel like you've been 2 feet in for about a decade. I mean, what? I shouldn't say that. Yeah,
You're
about a decade really coaching.
going in year 8.
Yeah, wow. It doesn't show, I'll be honest with you. You still look like you're 24, to be honest. Like you
Okay,
can't
you're the
even.
only one that's ever said that, so come on.
Um, you know, I, it's been a while since you haven't been 2 feet into something is what I'm trying to get into. Like, you know, for someone that's maybe just looking to make that leap into coaching or into a job, just in general as a regular person, how do you get them around that mindset of, wanting to play into so many different things, maybe not wanting to be fully committed, still trying to look for certain things, but with an operations role, with coaching, with being around college athletics, it's impossible to be to get fulfilling work out of or to put fulfilling work into the people that you're working around by not being 2 feet in. What do you tell those young people or people trying to get in?
Yeah. I think I'm blessed to where I don't really feel like I'm working that much. And I generally just enjoy doing this. And I enjoy the process of college athletics. And I hope it stays in this path of where we are, where we're developing young kids and seeing them make it to the next level and seeing them graduate and seeing them become adults and seeing them grow on and off the field. Um, all of those things make work pretty easy.
Mhm.
But I do think there comes a time in this past 8 years where like you decide, is college soccer for me?
Mhm.
Like, is this it? Am I 2 feet in? Am I all in on doing this the rest of my life or, something like that? And some people it takes 1 year, some people it takes 6 years, some people take whatever. But um, you realize, I even realize some days where I don't fully show up in the office. I'm like,
Mhm.
man, the amount of work I got done and just my satisfaction when I left the office was so much lower than just a normal day when
Mhm.
I'm myself. And so, um, yeah, I think the goal is that you just take a job or you're at a job where you're just generally happy and willing to work hard no matter what the task is.
Mhm. Yeah, I think, and that's something that I think is very applicable to the young players as well, though, too. I mean, you having, slow days or maybe days where you're not 100% relaying that experience to help out with a player back onto this coaching end of, hey, well, you know, I hope everything is all going well in training, just making sure that just checking up on these guys. Like, what is your relationship with these players just day to day? What does it look like during the season, during the school year, and then even during the summers where you're not seeing these guys so often if they're not from around the Portland area?
Yeah. I mean, mental health is just so important.
Mm.
And I think it's always been important. It just always hasn't been so front and center.
Mhm.
And now that it is, it's great to have the resources here to help and just give them a limelight to share and express how they're feeling. And we want to be around our guys as much as possible,
Yeah.
whether that's on the field, whether that's extra training, whether that's film, whether that's just chatting.
Mhm.
Let's just go and sit on Merlo and chat about life. And you have a big staff of people that all have that same view with the team and that connection with the guys, then yeah, I think they do start feeling just more connected and more well-rounded and more, bought in like we're talking about. And when the staff views you as more of just like a piece of this, winning team, and they see you as like a player and they see you as a person and they see you as an individual, then I think you also want to work harder for them. And so I think we do a really good job of just like creating those relationships on and off the field, and not just about soccer alone.
Yeah, and that goes back to staying away from, like you were talking about, it's part of um where certain recruitment aspects or certain aspects in college soccer can feel very transactional, where there's a job to do, there's certain player, you've got to put your best guys out there, you've got to win games, this whole thing, but it's also the development, not only as a player, but also just as a person. And that's weird to say, developing as a person, but it's just going through certain thoughts, experiments, certain experiences in someone's life. And I think soccer really does play into that. And from what you're telling me, it seems like the staff really is able to align those experiences with also just becoming a better person, a better man for these players.
Yeah, that's right. And that's our number one job, is making sure that they're leaving here better people.
I mean, yeah, just something that's yeah, there's no other way to put it other than it just being a vital part as much as really developing players, you're also developing people and doing exactly that.
Yeah, like from afar, I think anyone can see our success and our path to pro and how many players are moving on and crushing it at the next level. Like that's easy to see.
Right.
To really be in our system and in our program and see what kind of individuals we're also creating is really cool.
So how did the role with Portland ultimately come up? I know, and we've talked about San Diego State. It was director's operation, but I believe you coached at San Diego State as well for a little while.
One fall.
Right. And then to San Diego as well for a few seasons, developing a co-goalkeeper of the year, incidentally with Portland's keeper, I think in 22, I believe.
22, yeah.
Right. I mean, tell me about how I know Coach Nick reached out to you as well, this being an opportunity for you, but anytime you're making that change, it's something that always ends up being something that you've got to weigh out regardless. It's not a decision that you make within an hour, within a day, even it's something that you sit with for a little while. What ultimately brought you to Portland? And we may have touched on this before, but just so I can ask you again, really.
Yeah. I think my family's in San Diego, so it was always um, a tough decision just from that aspect of, really, really leaving your family and just taking a leap to go somewhere else, wherever that may be in the country or the world. But once I came on campus, once I got a chance to talk to Nick, talk to a lot of other people that have either worked here, worked under Nick, worked with Nick, the university. Just I did a ton of research, just like anything, being 2 feet in, like we talked about. I was like,
Right.
I'm not gonna just say yes or just say no without having all my everything laid out in front of me. And we had some really good chats. There was a big MLS event right around that time, so it was really good for us to like get to hang out at that and kind of see what it looks like when it comes to just like being around each other on a field or whatever it may be, and once I laid out all that stuff, it was a pretty easy decision to come to, Soccer City, USA and Merlo Field and work for Nick and this place and this program. It was like, yeah, how can anyone ever say no?
I'm like, it's something, yeah, it's something that's just so interesting how a lot of this ends up working out, this staff building, just um, there's still being that idea in the back of Nick's mind about him wanting to bring you in, having a big competition, and now being on the same side of certain on a lot now. I mean, a lot on everything now, having to also balance certain ideas of play styles and recruiting aspects. I mean, I gotta imagine that the recruitment on your end, you could like a player, but you've still got to go to talk with Ben and Nick and the grad assistant or grad assistant slash director of operations, who's ever in the role at that point. But there's always a conversation about the kinds of people that you're bringing into this space that you guys have curated for a while now.
That's right. Yeah, it's a special space,
Yeah.
and so that's touching back on that like earlier comment on recruiting is like
Mhm.
you can't bring anyone in here.
Right.
It's because you're incredible and you have 70 goals in MLS next. That's great.
Mhm.
Like you're probably a good player, but do you fit all the things that we're looking for? We work too hard for someone to come in and kind of ruin our locker room overnight. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, making sure they're really good people, really good players, and fit what we're trying to do, um, is what it's all about.
So I want to phase this into another part of the conversation that could help us, well, not help us, but that'll continue to get us to know more about you. But when you go into just a day at the office where, regardless of what phase of the year that you guys are in for Portland, there are there's a certain mindset that you go in with, or a certain, and I don't say this knowing what it is, but I have to imagine there are certain things that are on your mind to allow yourself to be the best every day, to keep yourself 2 feet in. And I mean, I'm really going to be using that saying now. Just keep saying 2 feet in, 2 feet in. That's a huge part. But
Yeah.
I mean, what are you telling yourself every day about wanting to continue to bring a day closer for Portland to ultimately reach that national championship? And is the work ever really done? Are you bringing certain things home with yourself, or just making sure that you're having these conversations with players and coaches? Like, what does this daily work really look like?
Yeah. I hope everyone that ever watches this does have a chance to just shut down and relax and take a deep breath and enjoy, just being present in everything. Um, I find the most success when I like just create a simple list of what needs to get done today.
Mm.
Because there's so you can go down so many rabbit holes of
Right.
what kids you liked at this event, what kids you liked at this event, who needs his phone call, who needs a text, whatever. You can go down a list and go, crazy. So, just creating a simple May 22nd checklist of this is what we need to get done, and then you start getting it done and you finish it. That's like amazing.
Right.
Now you have whatever, you can create a new list or whatever. But if you just, I think, walk into the office and say, what am I going to do today? You're going to be all over the shop. And that sometimes I think brings stress to people. Like when I don't have a list, wow, so many things I want to do.
Right.
They all sound great. They all sound
Mhm.
incredible. And so I think I've found the most like structure and the most success when I've had a very like, here's my list. I have my list for today right now. And I'm like, we gotta get that done. And if you don't get it done, that's all right as well. Like this is now I gotta figure out some other times to get it done.
Right.
And so yeah, just creating a list by priority of what you think's important on the day or what you think's important in the week, that will lead to Portland being successful.
Perfect. Yeah, and that was actually going to be a next part of my question too. Like, how do you make sure that you're knowing that you're putting the right stuff on that list, or just really prioritizing the right things? I say on the list, figuratively, but also literally. I mean, literally writing it down. Like, when did that idea come to you? It sounds so simple, but it's something that I don't think most people end up doing, at least in their own routine when they're trying to find something. And
Yeah.
maybe it's using different other whatever tactics, but when did writing it down, when did making a list become real impactful for you? And I know it sounds like a stupid question, but
Oh no,
it's
no, no.
all it's all
You're
through the
just
process.
you're gonna fire up the rest of my staff because they Nick gets all the credit and Ben gets all the credit.
Mm.
They're big on that, and um there was a lot of times where I was just doing so much stuff and they would be like, what's happening? Like what did you get done? What didn't you get done? Or they would do something and I had already done it and it was like, oh, like I wish we knew. And it was really at Coach Nick and Coach Ben just being like, hey, this is going to lead to the most success is if we just all have our own to-do lists or all have our lists and we all get those done. And yeah, we'll meet here and we'll meet here and we'll meet here and talk about certain things. But if you're getting your own set of items complete, we're going to be a really good program.
Right.
And yeah, so I'm not a big like note guy
Mm.
and writing stuff down guy, and that's a flaw of mine. And I've really grown here through those two. That's become a top priority of mine.
Yeah, interesting. It's so it and that goes back to the harmony between the staff of how you guys are all looking to. I mean, the end goal always is to make the program better, to get that national championship for this team, to bring the national. I mean, there has been the national attention in the college soccer world, but put Portland on ESPN, they won the that kind of thing. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, I mean, you all have that same goal, but there are certain ways of trying to figure out, troubleshoot the best ways of going about it, and I mean, it definitely seems like there's this efficient system that, I mean, we've seen a lot of over the last couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. Learning. That's the end goal is to keep learning. So I learn every day.
If you don't mind me asking, what are you learning every day? I mean, having been around college soccer for so long, it's inevitable that you do run into different things and being a part of different programs and certain thought processes. But what are you learning every day, having been 2 feet deep for so long?
Yeah, I think there's so much to learn in like the soccer side of things,
Mm.
formations and why players get into certain spaces and what training activates a player versus what training doesn't activate a player, or how there's so many different players that grow and train depending on different things, how you coach each player, versus how you coach some another player and how you balance that in the same training. So on the field, there's just endless amounts of learning that can happen. And that's, I watched a webinar the other day of some goalkeeping session, and I was like, learned three things that I never would have thought to add to my training, but now I do. Like, really cool. Here we go. And so, implementing that and seeing how that works or doesn't work in your training environment. So, on the field, there's just unlimited amount of things you can learn. And then off the field, you learn stuff every day with just how other people do things or how you do things or um, why certain things work or why certain things don't work or what makes you successful or there's always things that are happening in the office or with our staff that I look back and I'm like, wow, we did that and that made like a huge jump for us, or we didn't do that and I wish we did. And next time we meet and we talk about it, it's like, great, this is now a step we're going to take. So I do think there's always so much to learn, good or bad.
Right. Huge. And now, if you wouldn't mind, I would love to, ask about some of the other matches, at least during your tenure with Portland and getting into that phase. I've, I think just having a candid conversation about coaching is fantastic and what we've been able to do about learning, going through routines and how you never really look to get into these kinds of ruts, even though they may happen in terms of just making sluggish, but creating those to-do lists, being regimented, working with your staff is such a huge part of this. And now I wanted to talk about some matches where where this team has really been successful. I mean, we look at the Timbers Cup, which I think is really going to be a huge um at least college tournament, at least in the Pacific Northwest. You've got the two best programs in Oregon State and Portland, and two of the best on the West Coast, on the entire West Coast. Like with you guys having won the last two regular season tournaments, or excuse me, last two regular season appearances between this matchup, I mean, does adding something special, adding that log really add something to these kinds of rivalries in college soccer? Do you think it's necessary? Does it improve the game? Does it improve the awareness of the sport? What do you think?
Yeah, I would even go one step further and say two of the best programs in the country. But
Bill? Yeah.
like, yeah, I they're a very good team and we're a really good team. And so to have that competition in such a great state and that us being such different schools at the same time, which I think is awesome, like getting to come
Right.
together and play is they're always unbelievable. They're like every time we play, like a lot of scouts, a lot of people reach out and are always like, wow, what a game. What a game. Fans reach
Okay.
out, what a game. And so the atmosphere, the way we play, those games are just generally really awesome to be part of.
Yeah, huge. And then we were talking a little bit offline though too, but there's been wins against um Denver, one of the best teams in the country, I believe, 2 years ago, and then a 5-1 win against San Diego, your former school. But I mean, also another team that is, I mean, you will say Portland, Oregon State are two of the best programs in the country. I think San Diego's right up there with them. I mean, these matches that you guys come away with against fantastic teams, I mean, really same teams that are up at the top, right along with you guys. What does this really do for, I mean, the success and moving forward for this program?
Yeah, it's important. Winning is massively important, and those games are awesome environments here to make sure the fans are getting a good feel of how we're going to play, and the people that played before us and the people that coached before us that were here hold a high level of expectation, and we want to fulfill that. And winning's hard. Like at the end of the day, winning's hard. So to have some of those games here on Merlot and have some of those big wins and those environments we created were incredible nights.
I mean, what can you even describe the kind of scenes that you see for us on these late night games at Merlot, where I mean, I know average attendance is towards some of the top in the entire country. I mean, you get thousands of fans that come out to watch every single season towards the
Yeah.
top of every attendance. I mean, records for men's soccer. This being a stadium that's what can hold 4,500 people, 4,500 people.
6,000.
Sorry.
6,000. 6,000.
Oh, yeah. I don't even have that number right. That's on me, so I apologize on that front. But tell me about these Merlot nights that I mean I want to be a part of sometime into the future. I know we've talked a little bit about this too, and I mean I'm just rearing to go for
Yeah.
when I'm gonna be able to get there.
They're special. Like they are. We talk about it a lot as a staff and as a team, like nights on Merlot. Like it is an incredible environment. It's a really cool space to be part of. And I think even coaching on the other side in 21
Mhm.
here, like didn't do it justice for me.
Really?
And like I left being mind blown and amazed. But when you're on the home team and you can look into the stands and see students that you know from like the library or parents or whatever it may be that have paid money to come watch you guys, it's a really really cool environment that I haven't seen anything like it.
I'm like this. I know we've talked. I mean, I guess this is time to say it. I mean, I'm excited to come out to the home opener over at Merlot. I mean, ever since we talked about it, I'm infatuated with this. I'm doing everything I can. I want to reach out to all the guys who have been able to enjoy these Merlot nights, and I know I'm talking about it like it's a night out, but it almost is. It's something that's so much more special than that. Like for the students to be able to come out. That's something that you look forward to during the week. When's the next men's soccer home game?
For
And
sure.
I mean, I'm just excited to even be even a little part of it. Even if this is the only time I ever get to be able to be out there, like just I'm yeah, no, I'm really, really excited for this. I'm counting down the days until the end of August.
There you go. My dad flew up and his first takeaway was like, "Whoa, TV doesn't do any justice." So, yeah, it's a really cool space to see a game live and really take it all in with the atmosphere, the way we play, speed of play, and yeah, it's the top end of college athletics.
I mean, I'm a firm believer. I've always been and I'll say that till I mean I don't even know to when. I'll just say it forever. I'll
Forever.
never stop saying it.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right.
Coach Deemer, I mean it's been a pleasure to be able to talk with you. If there's anything else that you think I missed, I've asked everything that I've had written down on my own thing, but I want to leave you with the last word. It's been a pleasure talking with you, getting your insight, and I mean I'm gonna take 2 feet I'm gonna take 2 feet in, um, really to continue to do that and everything that I do. Now that I've got a phrase to put it between, I've gotten a lot out of this conversation. I hope you did as well. But again, yeah, I want to leave you with the last word, Coach.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks again for having the University of Portland. Obviously myself, but we're all one here, and to have us here and have us part of this interview, I think is awesome and special. And we're full believers in what we're doing here, and full believers in college athletics, and full believers in college soccer. And we think we have all the talent here to go win a national championship. And the more people that know about our school and what we're trying to do here, the better.
I mean, I can't, I just can't wait for the fall, coach. I mean, we've got a whole summer to go. Yeah, and you've got a whole summer to go. I just sit here. I'm a college student. I don't do nothing. I don't even play college soccer. I just sit around and wait. But I can't wait to see what's to come during the fall. You've got a supporter in me and the entirety of Kickleball the rest of the way. And coach, it was a pleasure talking with you. We'll see you soon.
Awesome, Daniel. Talk to you soon, buddy.